Welcome to raigurkul.com. In this video, we will discuss about negative testings. Negative testing is always important when we are performing a testing of any particular applications. So generally, negative testing will be done by on the opposite side of the testing. Let's consider an example here. If we want to fill the form, so that form will contains several informations. Let's consider the name. So name of the persons won't be having any numeric number. So name always contain the string or words of information. So generally performing or testing this scenario with negative test cases will help us to achieve if user is adding any junk data while form filling that should not accept. That's called as system correctness. So we'll discuss here what is negative testing in detail, their attributes of the negative testings, objective of negative testings, why do we need to perform negative testings, and what is negative test cases. So if you're visiting this channel first time, please hit subscribe button, and if you want to learn about software testings, please watch complete software testing playlist. I will also include the URL in description tab so that it will be easy for you to get it started. Now, what is negative testings? So it is a completely unique sort of software program checking out method used to access the device for unexpected circumstances. It performs a completely considerable position in high overall performance software program development. In this testing, the gadget is allowed with the aid of using giving the invalid statistics as input. A poor check analyzed if an utility plays as predictable with its poor inputs. So let's consider we are walking into the login page. Login page contains username and password, which is a text box. So generally, username fields can accept the number, numeric, then that is numeric, then string either or alphanumeric with special character, but that should never accept the non-printable character. So we have to verify that test case is accepting or test box is accepting non-printable character or not, and some of the special character combination also not acceptable. So in that case, users are limited to enter either username with proper string format or alphanumeric or numbers. So these three formats are with the additions of some special character, but it should not accept just special character or blank detail. So this is called as negative testing for username field. Again, when it comes to the password field also having certain set of requirements. Sometimes organizations are adding a validation rule. Username and password should not be same. So in that case, user are not allowed to enter exactly same username inside password. That is called as entering invalid input for verification of or validation of these test boxes. So that is called as negative testing. So let's understand the attributes. So we can use poor checking out to access the ability, safety breaks, and unique copying with procedures. Negative checking out is used to evaluations the software towards the field conditions. So field condition, it means if I'm entering the wrong username and password in time at the time of validations, user won't be able to log in. So that is called as negative testing. So let's say I know the username is Rai Gurkul and password is again Rai Gurkul, but I'm trying to verify the validation criteria. If I'm trying to enter the wrong password, then that should not be able to log in. So that is again a negative testing. It is done to interrupt the gadget and reap failure in software program products functioning by way of means of feeding dangerous statistics. It is accomplished to discover the defects which could bring about important breakdowns. Negative checking out is done to slow statistic corruptions or safety violations. Usually, the goal of attaining the poor checking out is being accomplished by way of means of check engineer. So here we are just verifying the username and password. Again, let's say if we want to verify the current date. So the field is or DOB, that is date of birth. So for verification of date of birth, so whenever we are entering or filling the form, few of the organizations are having the mark. So below 18 years won't be able to access that application. So when user is trying to add their date of birth below 18 years, then definitely the application will not accept and it will throw an error message. So for performing this, a tester has to enter the various permutation combinations to cross verify it. Let's say in DOV, if the user is trying to enter current date, that should also not accept because current date is never being a DOV for any user. And again, totally depending on the scenarios. If users are trying to fill the form of 10th or graduation examination, so that definitely that person will not be able to add current date or even future date. So that will be applicable totally depending on the validation set for that form. In order to discover the software program vulnerability and ability of explorations, we are able to execute poor checking out. Negative checking out is applied to assure steadiness of the software or the software program product after being come upon when they enter values outdo the scope or limit or invalid enter statistics. It is applied to locate the important loopholes or so which all objectives we have in negative testing. One, the number one goal of appearing the negative trying out is to break the gadget or applications and validate the utility reactions during the surprising inputs. Second is the execution of poor trying out guarantees appropriate and perfect software program overall performance even if the person plays radically through putting the invalid and incorrect data. Third is to make certain the fidelity of the utility in oppositions to the effects of various versions of irrelevant validation facts set. We can put in force the poor testing. And fourth is it allows us to pick out a quantity of insects and the beautify the excellence of the software program utility below test. However, the poor trying out is finished after the implementations of the wonderful trying out. Why do we need to perform negative testings? If the negative testing will be not in place, definitely we will get lots of junk data at the time of form filling. Second, if the negative testing will be not performed, definitely the system will accept any or security will be not in place. Subsequently, appearing any sort of checking out hobby is a fee and time taking process. So we should pick sensibly whether or not we want to put in force the terrible checking out in our gadget or not. Here we we are discussing why we want to carry out terrible checking out with inside the unique utility with the aid of using thinking about the subsequent preservatives of clients organizations. Why do you need to perform the negative testing from customer point of view and from company point of view? So let's understand how we can perform from customer point of view. The implementations of negations trying out makes certain to provide bug unfasted and zeros vulnerabilities products for us to meet the customer expectations. So in the same way, if we are trying to figure it out with the company point of view, to supply a very good first rate product to its purchaser is the duty of the organizations, and to perform this one has to carry out bad trying out. Negative trying out is wanted whilst the utility is essential, which includes e-commerce, online stock, and so on. The fee is the handiest problems to the patron, even as appearing the terrible trying out, but while the impact of evaluated it's far as much as the pattern to pick whether or not to carry out trial trying out or not. From the company's factor of view, the bad trying out desires to be accomplished due to validations in oppositions to failure. We ought to carry out the bad trying out due to the fact sometimes we cannot assure to increase the 100% bug unfastened system. However, we should make sure that the whole thing is executed to keep away from a failure. So which all test cases of negative testings we can consider. Another giant thing of terrible checking out is negative check instances. The group creates those terrible check instances to check the software in a manner wherein isn't supposed to be used. So as I said in the beginning, if we are trying to figure it out the way of how to test a login page, in that case, login page will have certain parameters. So within that parameters, that username and password field should be verified in negative ways. So user, whenever the end users will try to enter with the wrong detail or invalid detail, he or she will be not able to logged in. So as we understand that a terrible checking out is carried out to make sure the fidelity and dependability of the applications, and those must be measured through the crew within the following checking out of our efforts. So here we have to verify the web session testing, performance modifications. That means when we are trying to enter these details, how the navigation involved, how faster is that, implanted single code, numeric bound test, necessary data entry, field size test, and data bound test. So these are the parameters which we have to verify it. So web session testing, it means the ways when the user has to enter the proper username and detail, then only the user will be able to log in. Performance modifications, which means whenever a user will enter and click on the submit button, it will quickly navigate into the login page. Implemented single code like adding the error messages. Numeric bound tests, whenever we have a contact number field, that contact number field can be accepted only numeric field. That should not be acceptable with any string or any characters or text. Necessary data entry will be whenever the user will trying to enter this detail, that will be visible. Field size minimum and maximum size can be verified within that contact number, and data boundaries will be validated totally depending on the variations of the data can be accepted. So that's all from this video. Let's recap. We have started with the negative testing introductions. We've discussed on different phases of the negative testings, which all attributes we have. And finally, we have discussed their cases, how we can cover their test cases in negative testing. So that's all from this. Hope you enjoyed the content. If you think so, this will be useful. Don't forget to share within your circle. Thank you for watching.